Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you'd like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. It's that time of the month again. No, not that time of the month. It's time for me to talk about my houseplant favorites. I can't believe it's already the end of May, but such is life, such is time. That's how it works, I guess. I think that you all expected this to happen, but this is the first plant on my favorites list for this month. It's my anthurium crystallinum. I mean, come on. If you have been following my videos this month, you would know that this gorgeous gal put out this leaf right here, and then also randomly decided to start spitting out 2 more leaves immediately at the same time. So I'm honestly in shock, but look at that right there. Oh my gosh, the emergent leaf color of the anthurium crystallinum, it sweeps me off my feet every time I see that just like burnt reddish color. It's just so beautiful. So I'm really excited to see what these leaves look like as they mature. This one got pretty decently large. But honestly, yeah, this plant is really loving the greenhouse cabinet. It's absolutely thriving. It did fine in regular ambient humidity, but something about that sweet, sweet, consistent humidity and sweet, sweet, consistent lighting of the cabinet, I think it just, obviously, most plants enjoy that. I actually need to give you a better look at what's going on because I feel like I'm just flopping this plant around without actually showing you anything. It also, in the right lighting, has like this gorgeous shimmer to it. And also, look at these juicy, juicy roots. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of glare, so I don't know how well you can see that, but the roots are coming right up to the edge of the pot, and honestly, I think my favorite kind of root is anthurium roots. That might sound weird, but like, they're just so thick and juicy that they remind me of ramen noodles. Okay, moving on. There is also, believe it or not, more growth happening here. Let's see if you can focus on it. Yes. Right. Is that more growth, or I'm pretty sure that's more growth. Wait, I might be not looking at that correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's another growth spike. At certain angles, it's like, is that really? I think it is. It would not surprise me if it were growing more, considering how much she's been growing. She's a freaking absolute beast, and I love her. Truly, I think this plant, I mean, I love my clarinervium. She's solid. She also put out a new leaf this month, and she also has an inflorescence right now, so I'm gonna see if I can collect some pollen. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. But really, I think the crystallinum is the one that has made me fall head over heels for anthurium. So I got an anthurium seedling in the mail a couple weeks ago. You guys have seen that video by now, I think, where I unboxed that little seedling, and I may or may not have ordered 2 more seedlings, one of which is actually a dark crystallinum hybrid. So I'm falling into the deep hole of anthurium, but I'm not mad about it. Next up is my philodendron hetericium, but like the variegated version. Wait. There's so many ways to say the name of this plant. Variegated heartleaf philodendron. It's probably the easiest way to say it. But oh my gosh. All I need to do is just show you like these newer leaves that it's been coming out with. I originally got this plant, I think, back in September, and I have an unboxing video on my channel. It was a series of rooted cuttings from a good friend of mine, and I feel like it took this plant a while to get fully established, but now that summertime is approaching, really this plant has started taking off with growth now. And if you just, oh my gosh, I'm honestly obsessed. I'm super, super obsessed with this plant right now. This is currently also living in my cabinet. I don't think it's gonna stay there permanently just because I'm gonna have to make room for my anthurium. But I think this will do totally fine in ambient humidity. I just figured I'd give it the little bit of a boost, and I had the space in the cabinet, so I tossed it in there. But I'm excited to grow this as a trailing plant. I have a lot of iterations of philodendron hetericium in my home, like the Brazil is right here behind me. I also have the normal green one right here, the lemon lime down here. I have a Micans over there. Yeah, I've got lots of them and I love them all dearly. They're wonderful, wonderful plants. That variegation is so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. This right here is my philodendron gigas, which I feel like the gigas perpetually looks a little bit wilty for some reason. But I think that's just how the plant is, because when you actually touch the leaves, they're solid. They're not wilting. It's just, that's just kind of the way that it presents itself is a little bit more drooped, if that makes sense. I love how velvety the leaves are, and this plant has really been a good grower for me. I felt really paranoid about like repotting it and putting on this pole because it just seemed so delicate and small as a baby plant. But slowly he's been putting out more leaves. Well, actually not even slowly. It's like, I feel like once every week or two, he's putting out a new leaf. And so he's got another one on the way. Like this one just came out and then he's got another one. It's kind of scrunched a little bit, but it eventually sorts itself out in the cabinet with that high humidity. But you see right there, there's a new leaf trying to come out. And this plant has also already started rooting into the pole. Like if I like pull this a little bit, there's some resistance and I can see, there's no way it'll pick up on camera, but I can see that some roots have started making their way into the pole. Not enough that I can see it in the back or anything, but just in general, it's rooting into the pole, which is a really good sign. I currently have this plant Velcro open just for the sake of the new leaf. Like once it emerges more and climbs up more, I'll put it back around the plant, but as of right now it's just kind of in the way, so that's why I removed the Velcro and it's just kind of open. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with how well this plant has started growing. Again, I was super paranoid when I put it on this pole, repotted it, everything. I was concerned that it was gonna die on me, but it did not. It's actually thriving really, really nicely. So I'm eagerly awaiting to see what this plant does in the future. But I'm recording this moment in time while it's still a pretty baby plant, but it's growing quickly and it's ascending the pole, and yeah, it's gonna be great. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave this plant in the macrame hanger because it has new leaves coming in and I'm a little bit paranoid about knocking them off. This is my Hoya obovata, and I am putting it on my favorites list because I'm just so thrilled that this plant is finally like growing and growing a lot for me, because it's been a long time coming, okay? Listen, I know there are Hoya obovatas out there that are far more robust, and it's really, this isn't that much to look at, but it is for me because I got this plant when it was like a 3-leaf cutting. That was a long time ago, so it's taken a long time to get to this point. But I think this is, I can confidently say this is the first time that this plant has actually like exploded with growth for me, if that makes sense. Like it's put out 1 leaf at a time basically ever since I've had it, but now there's a whole stem that's growing with new leaves on their way right here. And obviously this leaf and this leaf are both relatively new, if you can see that, and they're still growing. This was a pretty new leaf as well. By the way, if you can hear like muttering, my husband just got home and he's like out on the front porch talking on the phone, so that's what that is. Hoya obovata was like my first love when it came to Hoya. It was not the first Hoya that I got. I think it was maybe like the 4th Hoya that I ever got, but it was the first Hoya that actually made me like fall in love with Hoya as a genus. And it's the one, kind of like I was referring to the anthurium crystallinum before, that's like my gateway anthurium. This is my gateway Hoya. Really inspired me to get on the Hoya train and get a whole bunch of Hoya. I just really love these leaves and they're splashy and beautiful. I definitely always dreamed of having a super full basket of Hoya obovata. I don't know if any of you guys watch Becca de la Plants. She has a really big Hoya obovata that's in a macrame hanger like this, and that's kind of my inspo. That is the kind of plant that I really would like to grow. So yeah, one of these days maybe. And I definitely, once these leaves have finished coming in, I think I will chop and prop this plant a bit and just kind of add them back into the pot, get a really nice full pot going, because that's my ultimate goal, but we are well on our way to it now because this plant has actually started to grow for me. Okay, I know that I had this plant on a favorites list pretty recently. It had a bloom actually, which has now died off at this point. It was my first Hoya bloom ever. It's my Hoya latifolia albomarginata. I just wanted to bring it on really, really quickly because this newest leaf is massive. It is, I think, bigger than, it's like at least twice as big as any of the other leaves it has ever put out. Look, it's literally the size of my hand, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just now kind of starting to harden off, so I think it's finished growing at this point, but that is huge, especially compared to like these older leaves. Like the one just before it was like, yeah, not even close. I mean, even down here, these are all relatively small, but this one right here, massive. And it has another new leaf coming in. I really hope that this winds up being just as massive. And of course, just in general, this plant is going crazy. It's trying to find places to climb. It's trying to grow, and I'm here for it. But I wanted to very quickly highlight this leaf because I think that it's officially stopped growing. Wow, that's so beautiful. Wow, I feel like I have a lot of plants this month. Maybe it's just in my head. Wow, okay, there's no way I'm gonna be able to fit this entire plant in the frame. I might have to move it back a bit, but this is my philodendron squamiferum. And as you can see, this plant is just an absolute monster. I love him so much. And I just had to feature this plant because I recently moved it to a new location in my home, right by an east-facing window, and it's like right at the top of my stairs. And I feel like I've been appreciating him so much more recently because I moved him. Okay, I gotta move you guys back a bit so you can see what's happening here. If you can see any mess in the background because of that, I'm sorry. For example, this morning my daughter and I made like these little puppet things. I don't know. She loves them. She was running around playing with them, so I think it worked. It was a score. But anyways, you can get a better idea of the scale of this gorgeous plant. Oh my word, he's massive. He's so massive and sprawling. But on the note of like moving plants and appreciating them, I feel like sometimes when I rearrange my plants, I definitely am able to better appreciate them compared to before. Because this guy he was on top of the piano, but he was kind of in the midst of a lot of other plants. So even though he's large, he wasn't really standing out quite as much. And honestly, he was starting to feel a little bit imbalanced because of his size. But where he is now, he can truly be more of a spotlight plant. And there are some other plants in the area that complement him, but they're not competing for attention, if that makes sense. And I've been really appreciating this plant. Definitely has to be one of my easiest philodendrons that I've ever grown. Oh, hang on, my son has woken? He's woken up. I'll be right back. See yourself in the camera? Yeah. Head over here for a minute. Wait a minute. Oh gosh, what was I even saying? This plant has been so easy. Probably he'll be due for a repot. He kind of looks comically large in relation to his pot, but maybe this summer I will check out those roots. He's always growing. This is his newest leaf. It's still kind of floppy. There is a caterpillar waiting right there to start going for it. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm gonna do once this plant reaches the top of this stake. Honestly, will I chop and prop them? I mean, I guess I could, but these leaves are so big. I'm just imagining like a single leaf with like a tiny baby leaf coming from it, and it's kind of funny to me thinking about that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, honestly. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I suppose I could get a longer stake, but I don't know if that's the best idea. I don't know if I want it to be any bigger than he is now. So we'll see what I do. I don't know. Gosh, I had a few more like tentative ideas on my list of favorites, but I think I'm gonna have to end it with this plant. This is my Hoya linearis, and honestly I'm just so happy because he's finally growing again. He took a really long break over the course of winter, and I ended up putting him in my cabinet because I was like, I mean, why not? I was trying to figure out which plants I wanted to put in there, and he started taking off immediately. And I don't know if that's just because it was kind of spring, summertime, and plants have a weird intuitive innate sense of spring and summer sometimes, even though I feel like the conditions at our home, especially with grow lights and whatnot, are pretty constant year round. Not entirely, but it's not the same as being outside. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. I can't remember my train of thought. But this plant is growing again. I don't know if you can see the new growth, and there's more new growth right here on this side, which for a long time I had propagated a piece off of this plant and it kind of stopped growing after that. It took a really long time for a new growth point to develop, but a new growth point has developed and he's looking really beautiful. And the piece that I propagated off of the plant has finally started growing as well. I put the propagation directly into the soil. I didn't like put it in sphagnum moss or water or anything first. And so I wasn't really sure if it was gonna root, but apparently it did. And it's finally putting off new growth after, I feel like it's been a year since I did that. So it took a really long time, but he's growing. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it that way again or if I'll just like do water propagations, or I don't know. At some point I do need to sort out this plant, propagate it, fill out the top, all that. But for the time being, I'm honestly just really grateful that he's growing again. This plant is the kind of plant that it's like once it starts growing, it just kind of goes and goes and goes, and you don't really know where it begins or ends because it's just constant. So I'm very eager to see how much growth this run gives me. Well, I think that is going to be it for this video. I always really enjoy making these favorites videos and sharing with you guys plants that have stood out to me and that I appreciate. It's really a positive video. It's a video where I get to be appreciative. I'd love to hear from you guys, like what plants have stood out to you this month, what plants are on your favorites list, what plants have been growing. It's honestly probably my favorite time of year right now, just spring, summertime, and it's also right around my birthday. I don't know exactly when this video comes out. It might come out like on my birthday or right around my birthday. My birthday's May 28th, so we'll see. But it's right around the corner. I'm turning 25 and I'm very excited. I'm probably gonna go plant shopping on my birthday with some friends. I don't think I'm gonna film it though, but maybe you'll see the plants that I get from that if I get anything. But anyway, I'm just kind of rambling. So if you like this video, please feel free to leave a comment or like or subscribe. All those things really are helpful for my channel to help me grow, and also I just love building that community with you guys, and I don't know, it's all good fun. But anyways, I hope that you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye!